First of all, so I know we've been done some coaching for some time now. So I know you pretty well. Um, However, there may be a few persons that's going to look at this video and they may not be as familiar as I am with you. So please tell me about yourself, about your current roles. Yeah.
Okay, so I am involved with way too many things, first and foremost, but primarily I am an entrepreneur and an innovator. My day job is I'm the director of innovation for a health fund here in the UK called Impact on Urban Health. It's part of a wider organization where we manage £1 billion, and we're using that to help reduce health inequalities in South London in particular. Uh,
Mhm.
Outside of that, I sit on a few boards. So I sit on the board of two NHS trusts here in the UK. And we've literally just gone through the process of merging those two organizations into one. I
Nice.
also sit on the board of a social housing provider. And lastly, I sit on the board for the Lloyds Bank Foundation, which is one of the larger funders for charitable organizations here in the UK. And outside
Wow.
of that, I do quite a few entrepreneurial things, setting up my own businesses. Got a podcast that I've launched as well called Behind the Dreams, and got
Mm,
a couple of other projects that are going to be coming out in the next couple of years.
lovely. I mean, that is a full plate. What do you think? What inspired you to get into, board type roles? Because you seem to have a lot.
Yeah, that is too many. What inspired me? It is for me, it's my bigger vision. So over the long term, I do want to go on to be one of the most successful executives like in the world, to be totally honest with you. And I understood that being a board member was a great way for me to start developing those executive skills, as well as looking at it from a different point of view. At some point in time, I would love to take one of the companies that I launched public, so get it on the stock exchange. So being able to understand how governance works and become good at it many years before I will be in that position would just mean that I'm that's more effective when that time comes.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. I actually, as you mentioned that, we definitely could have some chats on compliance and those kind of things. I've been studying again. So the next question I have is, so we've had some coaching over the years. I think we met in like what 2020. It seems like a world away. COVID was crazy. What I would like to know is, what, because I know how we would have initially met is that you were looking for someone to coach with, with a specific type of background, and that's how we would have met. So the question to you is, why do you think it was important to seek out a coach, and what benefits were you hoping to realize from that process?
Okay. So just to confirm as well, I know there are fireworks going on in the background. Is that coming up on your recording at all?
No, no, I'm not hearing.
Okay, that's fine. So your question was, what was it that got me to look for a coach? Is what you're asking?
Mhm.
Okay. So I am a huge believer in coaching. I do know that you can go so far by yourself, you can work hard, you can study, you can watch courses, whatever it might be, and that will get you to a certain level. But if you really want to become the best at something, and if you want to do that at a faster pace, then having somebody who has a deeper level of insight and expertise in a particular area will multiply the quality of your learning. And
Mhm.
I would say it's particularly with your expertise in audit.
Mhm.
As I became a board member, audit and risk was not something that I had to previously be very exposed to. So
Mhm.
I now got thrown into a world having all these different types of conversations and needing to think about things in a very different way when it came to governance. So having you help me to navigate that, to be able to train the way that I think, to even know what was expected of me or what good looked like, I think massively improved my level of effectiveness. And now I've gone from being almost having a more of a passive role on those boards when I first joined to now I've been able to give meaningful contribution on a consistent basis.
Lovely. What? I'm so proud of you. That's amazing. Like, I'm really happy for you, and I think just your dedication as a whole, like I see it, You know, I mightn't clap every time I see it, but I see it, and I think you'll do great things. I'm so happy to know you. To know you now. It's like, you know, like 5, 10 years down the road, I'll be like, hey, Claude. Right. So the next question is, what are your three takeaways from our sessions, you know, around governance, risk management, that you believe contributed to the most to making you, you know, as you would have said, you know, more effective as a board member and maybe even as a business leader?
Hey, um, that's a tough question. Three takeaways. And the reason I say it's tough is because I feel a lot of what you've taught me has now become so embedded in my way of thinking that it's now difficult to untangle it. But I can say this, for example, right now I'm in the middle of planning the launch of a new business. And
Mm-hmm.
doing so, my approach has been so different to what it has been. So
Mm-hmm.
now I previously I might have just like focused on the branding and go get the web domain and that sort of stuff. This time
Mm-hmm.
around, I only even thought of the name as literally the last thing because I literally had to give it a name.
Wow.
Instead, like I went to build a financial model, and then within that, we worked out the cash flow for the next 3 years of the launch of it. Looked at the different potential risks that we'll need to face, how do we mitigate for those, looked at the practical implementation of how things would go. And I was like,
Wow.
another big thing that this definitely came from you was now the way that I analyze the finances with that. So you taught me a lot around performance metrics, particularly the different ratios that are in place. So I've been able to like design and plan out stuff like the EBITDA for the business, which then helps me to be able to work out more accurately what the value of the business would be in a year, 2 years, 3 years, and things of that nature. Um,
Wow.
and all of those things have just become a part of the way that I now operate, which
Mm-hmm.
makes me, and I was reflecting on the other day, it makes me kind of realize that my maturity in business, it's that, yes, I still have all that creativity and innovation and energy that entrepreneurs are often known for. But now
Mm-hmm.
what I also have is this level of maturity and expertise. And when you combine those two things together, that's where I think it's going to really be that my next level of success in my life and my career is going to be in a completely different level.
Wow.
So that's one. Two
Mm-hmm.
is my approach to risk. So within my organization, where I work for my day job, as director of innovation, I'm responsible for basically anything that's needed to make the organization as effective as possible. And one of the really big projects that I've taken on the last year is redesigning our approach on how we manage risk as an organization.
Nice.
Say a lot of the lessons that I've learned from you, plus sort of the hands-on practical experience of being a board member, has allowed me to truly make our approach to this significantly more sophisticated, which in turn is going to show up in the results of this team.
Wow. Oh my God. That is amazing. I'm so happy. Like I'm really, really excited for you. That's amazing things. Oh, and I feel like I didn't even know half of these things.
I keep although I share a lot online, it's still a fraction of what it is that I'm actually doing most of the time.
You're okay with me sharing this video, right?
Yeah, that's fine. It's not a problem.
Okay, good. Wow. Okay, so I have two more questions. I think you dabbled on the next question a bit, but I'll still ask it. And it's basically, is there anything, you know, you didn't expect to learn in our interactions that has, you know, had impact, but it wasn't something you expected going in?
Mm. I'm gonna say it's the performance metrics. I think when I specifically was looking for help, it was probably more around that audit side of things.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest with you, prior to becoming a board member and prior to your coaching, I didn't even really know what audit was, even though I was being put on these audit committees and things of that nature. So I
Mm-hmm.
expected to learn that, but what I didn't expect is, like I said earlier, like having such a sophisticated view now of how you can judge an organization's performance and
Mm-hmm.
how those metrics come together, how they interact with each other, what does it actually mean, but then also how do you use those metrics to further enhance a business's performance? That wasn't part of what I expected to learn, but it's been really valuable.
Lovely, lovely. And it's so exciting to hear how you've now, approach like developing a new organization, thinking of all of those things, at the front, and not, waiting for it to be like a reactive, like, okay, how are we going to do this? But really planning for those things up front, which I think would help significantly with the way you manage going forward. So that's
Without I can say now that
Mhm.
I can confidently say I'm a good CEO, whereas before I could say that I was good at being a leader, having the vision and pushing things forward. But now the other half of your job is being a good executive, like
Mm,
being able to understand the numbers, analyze, communicate, and manage the team effectively.
mm,
So by being able to combine those two things together, which a lot of your coaching helped me to do the second half of it, now that makes me a good CEO.
Okay, lovely. Okay, my last question to you would be, given your knowledge and experience that you have now, what are your top 2 to 3 pieces of advice you'd give to younger, business owners now starting up, whether it be in business or in their career, or if it is they're looking into, seeking out executive roles, what would be your advice?
Um, I would say start off with get a mentor and or a coach. Definitely that will enhance the rate of your growth. It's
Mm,
worth the time, it's worth the investment, and yeah, taking a almost an academic approach to your growth and your development, it will pay off in the long run. Um,
mm,
so that'll be one. The second piece of advice would be, yeah, pay attention to the numbers. Excel is your best friend, and take the time to really understand it, get comfortable with it, master it. And if you do that, that will separate you out from 99% of other people. And those skills will serve you in more ways than you can ever imagine. So that's, I guess, a bit of two in that one go. So one is master Excel. And then two, with mastering Excel, use it as an opportunity to really master and get comfortable with the numbers. Branding, all of that stuff, it's important, but way more important than that is, do the numbers make sense?
mm. Love it, love it, love it, love it. I mean, well, Claude, thank you very much for taking the time to meet with me, um, and really just express your journey working with me over the years. Is there anything you would like to ask me before we close up?
I just want to know, what's the future hold for you?
Oh my gosh, so many things. I feel like when I left